Hello from Blue Willow Bookshop in Houston, Texas. I am Kathy Berner, the event coordinator at the shop. We are so excited to host this virtual event with Charlotte Stein in conversation with Talia Hibbert, discussing Charlotte's new book, While You Were Seething. We are so grateful to Charlotte's U.S. publisher, St. Martin's Griffin, for their support. Thank you, everyone, for joining us from around the world. And please join me in welcoming Charlotte and Talia to the screen.
There we go. Hello.
Yay!
Outstanding. Well, I am so grateful to both of you for taking time out of your evening to have this wonderful conversation about Charlotte's new book and the work both of you do. So I am going to stop my video and mute myself, and then I will pop back in and do the Q&A in about half an hour. So friends, enjoy the conversation, and please put some questions in the Q&A, and we'll let them take it away. Have a good conversation.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you.
Okay, now I have you in my clutches. I have so many questions for you. So, as Kathy said, my name is Talia Hibbert. I'm the author of several inclusive emotional romance novels. I'm so thrilled to be interviewing my good friend and one of my absolute favorite authors, Charlotte Stein, who is a legend in this industry. We're here to discuss her new release, While You Were Seething, which is out now. And while I'm sure a lot of people here have already devoured this book because I finished it in 2 sittings, for those who haven't had a chance to get to it, how would you summarize the story?
Well, thank you for being here and doing this, my friend. Talia Hibbert, wonderful, amazing author. I was thinking of all the questions I was going to ask you.
What,
But,
Charlotte,
okay.
don't do this. This is about you.
Okay, so I would say that While You Were Seething it's the third in my rom-com series. It's the last in this rom-com series, and all three were inspired a little bit by Ted Lasso, but nobody seems to be able to guess what this one was inspired by in Ted Lasso. And it's a book about a romance writer. He's a romance writer, and he's kind of made a bit of a fool of himself and kind of upset and insulted romance readers who are very fierce about this. And so a PR sort of fixer is employed, and it happens to be his mortal enemy from college, and she has to kind of like sort things out while bickering and bantering with him on a road trip. So I would say it's enemies to lovers. It's kind of there's a bit of fake dating in there, because the theme of the entire series was fake dating. Everything is, because I just absolutely adore fake dating, obviously. Yeah, so this one too. This is what this one's about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a
so
little.
many.
I think it's a little steamier than my other ones. I
Do
think.
you? Oh, the other
Yeah.
rom-com? I thought you
Yeah.
meant your other books in general, and I was like, no.
Oh no.
But yes, it is very, very
No.
steamy. Like for a rom-com, I mean,
Yeah.
your books are always very, even if they're not like super spicy, you're a very sensory writer, but we're going to discuss that later. I have so much to ask you about. But you mentioned that the hero Caleb is a romance writer. I found that super exciting for so many reasons. But first and foremost, I feel like your heroes are often kind of meditations on traditional masculinity because they either book the norms of masculine expectations or they're kind of suffering from the effects of toxic masculinity and they have to overcome that. And I feel like Caleb is kind of both because he's like this super romantic writer, but he's also a very repressed grump. So I'm wondering, how did you make that choice? How did you develop him? And what role does the weight of sort of cis hetero masculine expectation play in your work?
Yeah, I think. Well, part of the reason that I wrote him the way that I did is that I love. Well, I've written this quite a few times now, but I love the idea of a man who is can only express himself a certain way.
Mm,
That you can see, you can find the evidence of like deeper waters within him via
mm,
something else, like via the way that he talks about a passion, or like with in the case of Caleb, writing romance, he can express himself that way, but cannot in any other way whatsoever. If he's having a
He's
conversation,
struggling.
yeah, I really like the idea of, because it's, I mean, it's something that's quite close to my heart in that I'm not very good in person, talking to people, expressing how I feel, giving hugs and things like that. But I'm good on the page. I can write what
Mm,
I feel on the page for
mm,
absolute certain.
mm,
And I really like that kind of dichotomy. I really like that idea of somebody who's a bit of both, and in particular in regard to like masculinity as well. I think, yeah, I don't think that I could ever write a hero who was not grappling with that and trying to
mm,
move past certain toxic things. Like, I always like a hero who might be a little toxic, might be a little might be a little unpleasant in various ways, stoic, grumpy, and all that kind of thing, but knows that that's bad.
yeah.
I like when he knows that it's wrong and he wishes that he could be different. I think
Yeah.
that's really what I like to sort of like tackle and grapple with in my books, for
Well,
sure.
you did a great job with Caleb because, like, one of the big standout moments to me is so they have this, it's sort of like an academic rivalry because they became enemies by arguing about literature and they have these
Mm,
different philosophies and ways of looking at literature. And Daisy, the heroine, has these incredibly smart, whip sharp comebacks, and they're really equals when they're arguing. But
mm,
privately, internally, she does get her feelings hurt sometimes. And he
mm,
doesn't think that he actually has the power to hurt her feelings. It never occurs to
mm,
him that that could be an issue. And when he finds out that he has hurt her, he is
mm,
devastated and he goes on
mm.
this whole like remorse arc. And to me, that felt like you and I have spoken about this. You told me that you like to write to fix things. So,
Mm.
what do you think like male groveling does in an MF romance to sort of redress the reality of gender imbalance, I guess?
It's my number one. It is my number one favorite thing about romance and about why I write the way that I do is like you say, to fix things, but in particular the lack of accountability and apology that you get in real life from so much kind of like toxic masculinity type of stuff. There's so just you just bombarded daily with like politicians, like old men who just take no accountability for anything and will never
Mm,
ever be sorry for anything. And so if there's anything I want to do in my books, I want it to be guys that do something wrong but are sorry and know how to be
yeah.
sorry, and are absolutely gutted to think that they've done something that that needs that much groveling and apology. That it's not just the fact that they want to be forgiven, but it's also the fact that even if they're not forgiven, they're going to keep doing it. You know,
Yeah.
like people often talk about my book Never Sweeter, and just the
One of
fact
my
that
favorite
like
books.
I wanted to stress time and time again in that book and in this book, really, that it doesn't matter to them if they don't get anything out of it.
Mm,
They're just sorry anyway. That they
yeah.
will continue to be sorry anyway. That they want to make someone's life better anyway, because they know they've done something wrong. And that in particular is something that is very scarce in reality.
Absolutely. And it's wonderful actually to see it on the page. But we've talked about Caleb. Daisy, the heroine, is actually really the star of the show because it's entirely her point of view that we get. And I think being inside her head is so much fun. She is such a fun character. She's so witty, she's so confident, but she's also very anxious, I think. And that makes her a little bit of an unreliable narrator because her anxieties, or maybe just her negative expectations about how men behave, prevent her from seeing that, for example, her worst enemy is kind of obsessed with her. And all the times he's staring at her and she's like, oh my God, he's so disgusted. He's like, oh my God, Daisy. He's obsessed and fixated. So, my first question on that score is how did you go about crafting Daisy's character, but also her point of view?
I think one of my favorite things to do when writing any kind of like heroine, any FMC, is just to kind of like have that thing where the outward and the inward. I suppose it's kind of like a parallel with Caleb a little bit, and the outward and the inward are not necessarily like she
Mm,
projects this idea of that she's confident and cool and in control, and she's learned to do that. Whereas
mm,
underneath there's all this kind of like you say, the anxiety. And I think that's, yeah, it's just something that I really like to explore, and it's just something that I think as well that kind of it ratchets up the tension for the reader as well, that you're not really sure if, like you say, the unreliable narrator thing is that I like the idea that the reader can see things that
Mm,
your main character cannot see.
yeah,
That I've always enjoyed writing that,
yeah.
and I absolutely loved writing it in this one. I think because in this one as well, I really strove to sort of like make the enemies to lovers dynamic believable and to make it
Mm,
seem like, you know, they definitely were enemies, and the banter is for real and everything, and there's a lot of reason why they would never believe the other person liked them in any way whatsoever.
mm. Yeah, they really
Yeah,
go
so
hard.
I really enjoyed sort of like putting those little Easter eggs and nuggets for the reader to see, that you can understand that Daisy herself would not see, and that
Yeah,
Caleb himself would not see. Mm.
yeah, that completely worked. There were so many times when I was reading like, you idiots. Just kiss. This whole book was like, the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy's hand flex, and she's staring at his hand like, what's happening with that hand? And we're like,
Oh my
he's
god.
just so happy to touch you.
Yeah, I've had so many people say Pride and Prejudice this time, and I didn't really think that I was put, but to me, it is the blueprint. That hand thing is the thing that guides me through all my writing, pretty much. I'm just trying to recreate that moment over and over again. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I love that tension. I love that kind of like, I love you, but I don't know how to say it, and you don't know it, and you can't see all the signs.
Yeah. No, you smashed it. So, as you've already mentioned, this is a very tropey book. There's the enemies to lovers, there's the fake dating, road trip, only one bed, only one tent. We had the flashbacks to when they were, OG enemies back at university. What was your favorite trope to include, and what is your favorite trope in general?
I would say fake dating is my
Oh,
favorite,
yeah, you mentioned,
like
yeah.
my big one. Yeah, definitely fake dating. But I also I love forced proximity, only one bed type situations as well.
Mm,
Absolutely
mm.
love it. Especially if there's a reason why they can't reveal to anybody else that that they've got to like really hide things. I love all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like
Yes,
I've just started watching Heated Rivalry, and all the
yes,
stuff with like the guy being in the next room and all this.
yes.
I was
I
yeah,
love that
yeah,
dynamic of other people are watching your relationship. So, like in this book,
yes,
after they
yes.
realize that they're going to have to fake date, they go to a diner and he's just acting natural. And she's like, everyone is staring at us, and we definitely do have to continue to pretend to be a couple. And you know what else
Yeah.
I love? When they're like, oh, we're enemies, we're just like pretending to be together. And then strangers keep coming up to them like, you guys are such a great couple. I can really see how into each other you are.
Yeah, one of
So
my
much of
favorite
that.
one of my favorite bits to write in the book was the bit when that people have taken pictures of like their clinches and things like that,
Yeah.
and she's thinking, oh, it must look so ridiculous, everything must look, I don't, god knows what this looked like, and then it looks like they're trying to doink each other. Yeah,
I love that too.
I like the idea of they're completely like, it's almost like a kind of like a dual layer of like, within the book they're projecting, and to the reader they're projecting this air of like total gone for each other, but they just
Yes.
can't, you can't see yourself, you cannot see yourself and like how others see you. I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens to me all the time in real life, that the way that I perceive myself is completely different to the way that other people perceive me.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. I have that same thing. And another thing I think is interesting in romance is that like the characters have this way that they perceive themselves, and it tends to inform the way that they act, right? Like Daisy, for example, is like, well, he hates me. So even when she starts to feel more positively towards him, she's like, I've got to act like I hate him. And I feel like
Yeah.
a big part of romance that I love is characters finding, I guess, the courage to take off their masks to an extent
Mm.
and reveal
Yeah.
the truth to each other of how they feel.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
like that feeling of, when can you do it? When is
yes.
it safe to do it? Is it safe now?
Yeah,
I
and then
think
they're
I feel
like
like
testing the waters.
yeah, I feel like in reality, even when you're close to like kissing someone for the first time or something like that, you're not entirely, are they actually going to kiss me? Is this really a thing? And a lot of people, especially neurodivergent people like
Mm,
myself, like,
mm.
we need the reassurances that we've not just completely misread all the signs, and
Yeah,
that's what
like,
I love to put in my books.
can
Yeah.
you like fill out this form and sign it? And then I will know for sure. And it feels like every time Caleb was writing one of his books, he was filling out his form, but he was not
Yes,
brave enough to sign it.
you just, oh my goodness, you just get everything you just really get it. Yeah, that's what I was really hoping to get across, is that he, how much he's fighting to sort of like get it across, and like, again, to express it through his books, but also like when it gets to the point where he just really wants to tell her and wants to explain everything but can't, and so he's like furiously writing again suddenly, because it's almost like writing her like love letters but just not giving them to her.
Yes, he writes all these books that are so blatantly about her, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, anyway, guess I can never show them to her or tell her anything." But speaking of neurodivergent people, Caleb Miller doesn't like to listen to music in the car. He likes to listen to the boating forecast, and he has very strong opinions about food texture.
Yes.
When I was reading, I was like, Caleb, you and me, we're on the same wavelength. Was that like intentional?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it's one thing that I really kind of struggle with in terms of like, I never know whether, like, because I feel like there's a ton of people out there like myself who, have spent a long time not diagnosed in any way or
Mm,
anything like that, but you still have these, you're still this thing, we were
mm,
talking about this the other day about
mm.
how there's people in your family and you've got an uncle and he's like super into trains. and, and
Just
if
so
you
into
say to him,
them.
well, probably he might be a little bit, neurodivergent, a little bit on the spectrum or something, and everyone's like, no, what, he's just Uncle Al, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do write books for those people who don't necessarily know it or have any official diagnosis, but are definitely on the spectrum, or definitely have
Mm,
those neurodivergent like tendencies and ways of
yeah.
dealing with things, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally comes through for me. Um, and I think that's probably part of the reason why I love your book so much as well. And why people say, they always say that our books are similar or that our vibe is similar. Um,
Yeah.
but back to tropes, and I guess to neurodivergence, like all geniuses, you can't drive. I also can't drive. So I'm just wondering what led you to write a road trip romance? Like, how did you come up with this book?
Okay, the thing is, right, I really love road trip, like in films, TV shows, books. I absolutely, and I love it in a romance kind of like vibe. I think part of it is like, I just love the kind of forced proximity of a road trip, you're stuck with
Mm.
somebody, you can't get away. But also, I think it is a bit of wish fulfillment in terms of like, I can't drive, you know?
Yeah, so
So,
imagine if you could.
yeah. Yeah, I think a
Love
little
that.
bit. Yeah, I think so. I've never thought about that before, but now you've said it, I'm like, all right, yeah.
And we already mentioned the flashbacks from the days when they met and they became enemies. I felt like those scenes added something so special to this romance because it really built up these layers of their relationship, and we saw why they know each other so well and how they came to know each other so well despite supposedly hating each other. So I'm wondering, when these characters, when you're writing about characters who have such a rich past, how do you choose what to include in the flashback scenes, what to show the reader?
Yeah, I always like to include things that I think say something about what is directly going on, almost like if I do, because I'll be honest, I absolutely adored writing these flashbacks. I loved it. It was to the point where I was like, I'm going to write a separate book that is just the whole story of what happened. Like, I absolutely loved writing them, and there was more that I had written that I didn't include because I just thought, oh, you've got to keep the pace up.
Mm,
But yeah, I loved writing them, and I find that when I write the flashbacks and things like that, I like it to sort of like keep pace with the story that's going on, in terms of like, it reveals things at the same time as the main story is revealing things. It kind of like one reflects on the events of the other, and kind of like it completes the story of the past at the same time as it completes the story of the present. That's
yeah.
that's always how I kind of like tackle it and like to do it.
Yeah, no, perfect. It makes complete sense. It has a very like nice sort of circular connected feeling to
Yeah,
it. Feels
that's
very
what I hope
informative
to
for the
achieve.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that your voice is really unique because you swing from kind of sexy to funny to emotional and all the way back in like one scene, and you have this flexibility that's so interesting and immersive, I guess. And similarly, this book is a rom-com and it's very funny, but there are also these darker emotional elements going on in the background, and it's also very spicy. So I'm wondering, how do you develop that balance?
I think for me, it's just because they all feel like the same thing to me. They're not kind of like really distinct in my head. Like
Mm,
I always find the things that I respond to the most, the work that I respond to the most, it's the reason that I like your work in particular, is that is things that it knows how to like bring out the funniness, but it's the funniness of reality. It's
mm,
the real situations where like you've gotten yourself into this, like you know the way that like in real life things aren't just serious or funny. In real
yeah,
life, you know, you'll go to a funeral and you'll still be like saying funny things and finding something funny. And if somebody does something goofy, you'll still laugh. You know,
yeah.
it's not, it's, you know, and I feel like you capture that really, really well in your work. And I love all that in your work. So yeah, it's just something that I enjoy doing and enjoy thinking about in those terms rather than right now I've got to write the funny bit, you know, you know.
Time to put the funny hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And speaking of the spicy sort of element to everything you write as well, I've been thinking a lot about sort of sex negativity, which seems to be a rising trend in the current climate. But I find your books very sex positive, and I also find the way that you write sex to be really impactful to the narrative and to character work, and it does so many different things. So I'm wondering how you approach your sex scenes in the book and why you think, that they're an important part of your stories.
I think it's a similar thing to what I've just said. It's just that like
Mm,
you know with like sex scenes to me it's a part of life. It's like it's involved in everything you do. And like when in reality, you know, if you um find a new partner and you're having sex for the first time or something like that, it is that kind of thing where like your story doesn't stop when you're
yeah.
doing something. You know, it evolves. Things might change because of sex. It's that important.
Mm,
um and so it's the same thing for me when I'm writing a book. It's like I'm thinking, well, their emotional journey isn't just going to abruptly pause while they have this chapter long sex scene. I think, you know, their emotional journey is like is happening through that. Like I think it can change so much and reset so much, you know. Like for me personally, writing the first sex scene in this one, it was very much along the lines of they'd gotten to the point where things were happening between them that like were sparking those, you know, the feelings of desire, but they had not mentally caught up with that yet.
mm,
And I wanted to really kind of express that sort of feeling of like when you want somebody but you're not sure why you want them, or what's going on, or how, do you know what I mean? And like then have
yeah.
to puzzle, and then the aftermath of that the next day is always so, you know. And
Mm,
if you just wrote a very kind of like bog standard sex scene where there's no emotion in it, nothing like that, it's just body parts into body parts, then you're not going to get that kind of like delicious aftermath. You're not going to get
yeah.
the sort of like what happens next, what's the next step of their journey, has this progressed things along where they're starting to think, oh, I can express my feelings to this person, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. And I think another key scene between them happens after they are watching a zombie film together.
Mm.
And they talk about zombie stories a lot in this book. And Daisy says something about why she likes these stories so much that reminded me of why I like romance so much. And I know that
Mm.
you love zombie stories, and obviously you
Mm-hmm.
love a romance. So I'm wondering, could you talk a bit about both genres and I guess whether or not they have something in common in terms of what they do for people?
Yeah, I definitely think like yeah, I definitely think they have something in common in terms of like just that the amount of action in them and the heightened emotions
Mm,
and those kind of things that people are like working through. And also for me personally, my love of zombie films is a very similar love for romance, in that it's like about finding that one person who will like get you through this and who is similarly able to get through this with you. You know,
Yeah.
something. It's all like it makes me think of romance in terms of like almost like it's going into battle, and zombie films are very much like going into battle with somebody
Mm.
else that you kind of forge, and for me personally too, because like I always write romances that are very, it's just two people in a phone booth kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just two people who are kind of working through all their things. So yeah, I think they're very similar in that way, and just like there's something so haunting about zombie movies, I think, as well, that
Mm.
is a big vibe that I get from, the best kind of romance. I kind
Yeah.
of like can you make a connection with another person, and so all those kinds of feelings. Like I remember watching, because I mentioned 28 Days Later in the book, and 28 Days Later was a big one for me because it's not just a zombie film, it also has an amazing romance in it. It has this
Yeah.
really powerful romance about sort of like connecting with this person, and yeah, so yeah, I think that's how I feel about the two genres.
Love that. Love that. Um, I know we're running out of time, but I have a few fun, quick questions to ask you
Okay.
that are a little bit silly. So the first one is Daisy and Caleb disagree on the appropriate speed of a zombie, if it should be fast or slow. What are your thoughts on that?
Fast, fast is fast.
Really?
Yeah, are you in slow? Oh my gosh,
I'm
friendship talk.
slow. No, I'm slow because the thing about slow zombies is the inevitability. Like they don't have to be
Yeah.
fast. They're coming for you anyway. And I feel like fast zombies, it's a situation where it's like, oh, people who used to be in the military are in charge now and they know how to shoot a fast zombie and it's fine. And we're just in like this militarized sitch. Whereas if it's a slow zombie, it feels a bit more like we're all in the countryside,
Creeping.
drifting
Yeah.
through the bones of
Like
our old homes.
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I I completely appreciate the love for slow zombies. Like I get it. I understand but for me personally, I like the horror of not being able to run away. Not
But
not being able to be fast enough to get away.
that's fair.
That's the thing for me. Like I remember it was 28 Days Later that really changed my mind on this. I remember being sat in the cinema watching that film and just being like so terrified. Like suddenly these things that I'd been afraid of my whole life, these zombies, could suddenly run like that fast. It was awful. And I remember I was so scared. It's one of the few films as an adult that scared me in the cinema. And that when I came home, for a week afterwards, I couldn't get in. I was afraid to get in the shower in case someone was behind the shower curtain. I was like, I would
Oh
wake up and think there was something in the corner of the room. I was absolutely petrified,
no.
and
Oh my God.
that is why it's the impact of 28 Days Later that completely changed my thinking. I find it much more terrifying, much more terrifying.
I love that we've got your lore on this. I appreciate that. Daisy and Caleb also disagree about egg yolks and the mouthfeel of egg yolks soaking into bread, right? So Caleb is like, ill, I don't want runny egg yolks on my bread. That's disgusting. But obviously, Daisy, like you and I, is British, and dippy eggs are a time-honored tradition.
Mhm.
Where do you stand here?
I love a runny yolk. I do love a runny yolk.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I love a runny yolk. The runnier the better. I would honestly almost eat an egg almost raw, which is terrible for me. That's awful. And like my husband makes scrambled egg for us both, and he knows that I like it. Like he likes it really runny too, but he'll always make sure it's extra runny scrambled egg because I love extra runny. This is
Oh my
disgusting. Sorry,
God.
everyone. What about you, Tally? What do you think?
I'm the complete opposite. I'm Team Caleb here. First of all, egg yolks shouldn't be soggying up the rest of my food.
Oh no,
And
I don't.
second of all,
That's true. No, actually, that's true. I do not like when the egg makes the bread soggy. Like I like a runny
exactly,
egg, but I don't want my soggy bread. That's true. That's true.
separation of church and
Yeah.
state. But my controversial take is I actually hate egg yolks, full stop. Like I remember where I was
Really?
the first time I ate an egg yolk. I was very
Hmm.
small because I was watching Teletubbies, and I remember being like, "Ugh, what is that?" And I've never changed my mind.
Do you ever like it just as a dippy egg at all, or like with soldiers?
I don't like
Not
it in
not at
any
all.
way, shape, or form. The only way I'll take it is like scrambled and it's mixed into everything.
Yeah, yeah. See, I used to not like egg yolk when it was like a poached or fried egg, but used to love a dippy egg. I would
Yeah.
accept that when I was a little kid, but now I don't know. Now I've gone. I'm unhinged now.
A hard no.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, my last question. Chapel
Mhm,
Roan is the patron saint of this book. I'm not going to say
mhm,
why, but she is. If
mhm,
you had to
mhm.
assign an artist to the other books in the series, who would it
Oh
be?
my god. Oh, let me think. Yeah, I would say for When Grumpy Met Sunshine, it's Adele because it was
Nice.
the song Water Under the Bridge that was
Mm.
like a big song that I was listening to when I wrote that book. And
Aw.
for My Big Fat Fake Marriage, probably Sabrina Carpenter. I think Please,
Ooh.
Please, Please was a big song that I was listening to when I was
Oh
writing that.
yeah. I
Yeah,
really get that
yeah,
vibe actually from that book. And
yeah,
it also feels like the hero would love Sabrina Carpenter.
yeah. I
Like
think they actually
Becca's a
mention
Sabrina
it. I think they
Carpenter
mention
fan.
Sabrina in the book. I think, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say yeah, it's Adele, Sabrina Carpenter, and then Chapel Run. Yeah.
Charlotte Stein, if I have a bad dream tonight about a fast zombie chasing me with a runny egg yolk, zombies are slow. Scrambled eggs must be hard.
Yes.
No,
Yes, Kathy.
Ugh. I was just, I'm like, ugh. But I appreciate it. My husband loves a runny egg. He
Oh,
loves
really?
a runny egg.
How do
No,
you
thank you.
cope?
I don't watch.
I I used to be like you too. I'm not anymore.
Who knows? Who knows? What? Oh my gosh, this conversation is so good. We've got some great questions from the audience that I'm gonna sort of direct to both of you.
Okay.
Um, so this one from Natasha. Charlotte, you said this is the last book in the series. What's next? And then Talia, we're gonna turn to you saying what's next.
Okay, so well, I've got upcoming. I've got my Dark Academia romance that's coming out, very steamy romance, and that's coming out in July 7th, Education in Longing. So I'm hoping to do some more things like that. And then I've got Falling for a Villainous Vampire, which is the last one in my paranormal rom-com series. And that comes out the same day as Sarah J. Maas's new book.
Godspeed.
um,
You know
yeah,
what? We're just gonna shut boom right next to each other. Boom, 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 boom. That's how it's gonna go, Blue Willow.
that's what I'm hoping for. Thank you.
Oh, you like this?
uh,
You're gonna love this. Buy this too.
and then after that, well, we'll see what happens after that. I mean, I would like to write some more rom-coms, but I've got some other things in the pipeline. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. I can't reveal anything. I can't say anything what's going on at the moment.
But you're
But yeah,
in pros, but things are happening.
yes, yeah, kind of, yeah.
The cover for Education and Longing is very nice.
Yeah, I at first I was like unsure, but now when I see it, I'm like, oh, that book looks beautiful. Oh, it's my book.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And friends, I will send you links. So you can,
Thank you,
even if
Kathy.
you don't live in the US, you can at least get them on your schedule and you know when they're available. So Talia, how about you?
Well, I'm currently having a lot of the books from my backlist re-released. So A Girl Like Her just came
A
out.
girl like her.
It's a very emotional small town romance with an autistic heroine who is kind of reclaiming her life after an abusive relationship, and she does fall in love with like the golden retriever coded hero next door. So that's part of a small town series about outcast women being swept off their feet, and that is coming out slowly with lovely new covers and special editions. But in terms of new books, in Spring 2027, I have my debut romantasy, The Last Thorn, coming out, which I'm very excited about. It's kind of a cursed, well, it's like a cursed hero who's won a civil war in this magical realm, but nobody knows that as a result he's cursed. And the only way to undo the curse is to form a soul bond with the daughter of the enemy who cursed him. And this daughter, she's been raised in a tower because she has fangs, and she isn't a typical member of their magical society, and she hates his guts because he did unfortunately kill her dad. So and
Oops.
and they do form a soul bond, and it's very much enemies to lovers, and they do have to save the world.
Oh, that's
You guys are not ready. You guys are not ready for this book. You're gonna absolutely. I can't wait for it to release. Everyone's gonna love it.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, Charlotte, this one is actually for you, and it's interesting coming in the discussion, Talia, that you asked about the pacing with the flashbacks. Rochelle
Mm.
says, one of the things that really brought the book together for me was going back and looking at the early flashbacks. Were you thinking about remains of the day when you were writing Caleb and Daisy, or is that a reference I just glommed onto?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about that book. I'm always thinking about that book. I think I've referenced it in another book of mine because it had a huge impact on me, that book in particular. And that kind of like the simmering repression in that, I think in particular, I absolutely love that. Yeah, definitely. Definitely was thinking about that a lot.
Awesome. Well done, Rochelle. Okay, this one is for both of you from Robin. The characters and relationships you both write are so inclusive and showcase personalities' internal and emotional challenges writers did not feel they could write about a generation ago because they were told
Mm-hmm.
no one would read that,
Mm-hmm.
or you might be not be successful if you write that. What did you read when growing up, and how did your possible lack of representation impact your writing? And also follow up, what do you hope to showcase in the future that may not have been written about a generation ago?
Mm.
Who wants to go first?
Go on, Talia. Go, go, go.
I think it's funny for me because when I was growing up, there was more than there had been previously. Like the very classic old school romance novels of like the 80s and 90s had already given way to something a little bit more inclusive. But unfortunately, I was growing up in a place where, and I could only use the library, and I was growing up in a place where those more modern books were not really available to me. And so all I did have was, the kind of books where a person who looks like me would simply never exist, let alone, not be the main character. They just didn't exist in the world. Um, and so that definitely sort of lit a fire in me to find books that actually made me feel a bit more represented. And when I did, that was so inspiring to me because it proved that people wanted what I wanted, which I'd always suspected, but it's nice to know for sure. So I just love writing about Black women. I love writing about queer people, neurodivergent people, disabled people, and I'm just really excited that I get to do that and tell those stories for myself and for everybody.
Lovely. How about you, Charlotte?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. It's the same thing of like I almost the same experience in terms of like the things that were possibly that were changing for me were things that I was not particularly exposed to living in England. Growing up sort of working class, not I didn't even have much access really to libraries and things like that. So
Wow.
it was very hard, and just also in films and television, very hard for me to
Mm.
see a fat girl like me getting sort of like a super positive romantic story. That was incredibly rare when I was growing up. And it's just that kind of thing where it fires you up to want to see you. Well, if somebody else isn't doing it, I'm going to do it. you know,
Yeah.
or like even to just well, I'm going to join in with the people who are doing it and bolster what they're doing it, and they can bolster me, and we will be team. Let's do this. like
Yeah.
I like I've said often that although I've been in the business for a long time and I've always written sort of like fat heroines, I've never kind of felt like it was only until relatively recently that I felt that trad publishing was really kind of embracing sort of like fat heroines in contemporary romance.
Yeah.
And Olivia Dade was one of the first people where I thought, well, she's getting these big deals, these wonderful covers, everything's gorgeous, and that maybe that was something that I could do. That was what persuaded me that I should try too.
Mm.
So it's kind of a mixture of people who kind of forge a path for you, but also just thinking there's still an enormous lack, and I want to sort of make that lack smaller. I want to make things better.
You want to make up the gap. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate the work that both of you do and you represent so many different women. That is just awesome. Here is one from Andromeda. Um, Comment to Charlotte and then question for both of you. I look forward to reading this book. I love that your characters have this honest and very real part of themselves that is trapped within, unable to escape through anxiety because of society and social conditioning. Alfie really struck me, his yearning to write and hiding it. What would you both tell your own characters about becoming themselves and living to take up space as they are?
Wow, I love that question.
Yeah.
Mm.
Charlotte, you first.
Yep.
It feels, well, I think often with my characters, it does feel a little bit like the kind of thing that you wish that people would say to you as well. Like, you know, I would love to hear some of the things that I would say to my own characters, and it's got that kind of feeling of like you can tell somebody else that, you know, of course they're enough, of course they're amazing, of course they're all those things, but you struggle to tell yourself those things, you know. You don't believe them for yourself. Like, I would find it very easy to tell my characters, you know, to wake up, this person loves you. I would find it very easy to tell them that it's okay to be a nerd, it's okay to be a fat woman in this world, that, you know, that you're safe in that world that I've created for you.
Oh, oh, that
You
is
know.
beautiful. You're safe in
Yeah.
that world I have created for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if I think about Ruth, who is the heroine in A Girl Like Her, which is my most recent release, um, she has sort of been burned in that she trusted someone, she fell in love with someone, and they really ground down her self-belief and her self-confidence, and they also isolated her strategically, and now she lives in this small town, but she feels like she can't really leave her own home or make connections with people because she basically thinks that they're all on his side and that no one really wants to know her for who she is. And also being autistic, she already feels quite different from people. And so I think what I would say to her is that there is always a certain amount of daring and risk and really genuine bravery that has to come before you can be accepted, because to accept you,
Mm.
people have to actually know who you really are.
Mm.
And I think for her, that starts with, it kind of starts at home because this guy moves in next door and they have one very thin wall between them, and he keeps trying to bring her lasagnas because he wants to be a good neighbor. And she's like, please go away. But he doesn't. So she starts small, but she gets there in the end.
Mm.
That's
I think
awesome.
that's the thing that I found most beautiful about A Girl Like Her. It's the thing that it's I found it so beautiful and gut wrenching that whenever you describe it like that, like, yeah, I've seen you. Oh, I've promoting this book. I've seen you and other people describe it several ways in that way, and that's what the story's about. And it brings tears to my
Oh,
eyes.
oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
yeah.
Okay, this is a question from Tasneem for Talia. Do you have any more plans to write any more young adult romances? Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute is one of my favorite YA reads.
Thank you. That makes me really happy. I'm actually not sure. I feel like right now I'm in my romantasy era, and I also am actually writing some contemporary romances, adult contemporary romances, and there's such a never-ending list of things that I want to do. So I feel like it's definitely not out of the question, but it won't be anytime soon because I'm working through in chronological order.
And for both of you from Tasneem, um, what is your process behind a decision to write a new adult or a young adult? Like if you have an idea, how do you decide to make the age of the character what
Mm.
you do?
Gosh, I think a lot of the time for me, the story informs the age of the character, regardless
Hmm.
of if it's YA or anything else. I'm kind of like, what do I want to tell a story about? And what stage of life is that relevant to for these people? So, a lot of the time, self-discovery, or like a Bildungsroman vibe is kind of ascribed to being younger, but I actually think throughout our lives, we have all these new evolutions of ourselves, and we
Yes.
and we feel like we're starting all over again, or we have to find ourselves again. So that tends to be how I choose.
Charlotte,
Yeah.
any commentary?
Yeah, I would say that's very similar for me in terms of like it's often like what is the situation that I'm putting in them that might dictate, what they're like or how they come into my mind, what kind of voice they have when they come into my mind. But it's very much that kind of thing of like the situations that they're in. Is it sort of like something that I'm writing at the moment is very much like the two people kind of really discovering themselves with not knowing anything about themselves beforehand, and so it's very much lent itself to being new adult. It's definitely new adult, and the way that these characters are, and everything was dictated from then. So the guys in college, the girls are college, just a recent college dropout, and she's kind of working in a video store because it's like set in the 90s. Yeah, so it's exactly what Talia said, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Here is one. I'm going to kind of play with it a little bit. It's from Jess. Um, she says, "What horror director or writer would you want to see a rom-com from?" And I'll twist that to add any kind of like what kind of any genre creator would you want to see like that's not rom-com? Would you want to see a rom-com from?
I think
Oh
this
my
is already
goodness.
happening, but Ryan Coogler, I really want to
Yeah.
see do a rom-com.
Yeah, hasn't he said, didn't he say that he
I'm
wanted to do
sure he's,
something like
yeah,
a
I'm
When
sure he
Harry
said
Met
he was
Sally
going
type of
to.
thing? Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah,
mean,
that would be
yeah.
awesome.
I
Yeah,
feel
I would
like
love that.
he has such versatility and he is so fantastic at
Mm.
character work, and that's just really what you need for a good rom-com. Like it's not just about the snappy dialogue. It's like how do you convey the truth of who these people are? So I need that from
Mm.
Yes, he did say it online a month ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember because I was like, oh, yes, please. Yeah, I think in Sinners, like he gets such an intensity of like character and emotion and romance in that film. And it's a
Yes.
film.
Somehow.
It's like set over like a night or something with vampires in, and somehow still you feel the passion and romance of these characters. Yeah, I would absolutely love to see that. That would be wonderful.
That would
Yeah.
be super fun. Okay, everybody go find Ryan's post on Instagram
Yeah.
and comment and just keep reminding him that he said he would do it.
Yes, please.
Uh,
Yes, please.
And tell him to do 7 Days in June by Tia Williams if we're making requests.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Talia, you
Hell
have such
yeah.
good ideas.
From your lips to the film god's ears. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Amazing. Okay, this is going to be our last question. Another one from Andromeda. Question for you both. If you could live in any fictional world, and I'm going to expand it, book, TV, film, anything, video game, what would it be?
This is
Go on,
such
Talia.
a fun question. Okay, so I've really fallen in love with this book, Wooing the Witch Queen,
Oh my
um,
gosh, yeah. By Stephanie Burgess.
by Stephanie Burgess. And
Yeah.
the world is so it's like high fantasy adventure. You feel like people are swashbuckling, but it's also like such a I mean, there is like, the creeping threat of empire, but it's such a fun book. It's such a fun world, and people are so sweet and loving, and I love the magic system, and it just all feels so vibey. And then there's like the Fey world as well in book two. I would like to be involved.
Ooh. Charlotte, how about you?
There's so many, but I think I'm just going to go really basic. It's always Star Wars. It's Star Wars. I want the Force. I want all that. I want aliens and spaceships and the whole business. Yes. Either that or at the moment, probably Project Hail Mary. Like
Oh,
if we
Obsessed.
could live in a world
love it so much.
where there's rock monster, there's like Rocky, and somebody has done all those things, and that's the thing that's happened. Yes, I'd live in that world as well. That would be cool.
Oh, that movie was so
It's so good.
It felt so
It's so good.
romance reader coded. Like it felt like
so
Yeah,
exactly what you would want out of a sci-fi
100%.
film.
And like I
yes.
always kind of feel like both the book and the film always give me this really strong feeling like this is something that happened in a parallel dimension.
Yeah.
This is a different, in a better world than ours. This
Oh yeah.
happened.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. And I
yeah.
try to use that Ryan Gosling gif of him at the bar on the boat during the karaoke, where he's
Mm.
just like looking at her with it over his glasses. I try to use that at
Oh,
least 3 times a week. What a great gif.
yeah.
It's so good. Oh, that what a way to end. Oh, Project Hail Mary. What a movie. Um, y'all, thank you so much. You have just made my weekend. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it as much as I did. Um, it was so much fun to chat with you and to just to listen to you two talk about work and creativity and your points of view. It's just a delight.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Kath.
so much for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Kathy, for all you do. Thank you for Talia for being here and always. I always think, oh, we're just gonna gab, and then you ask me the most incisive, brilliant questions. You're so
Right?
good at it.
Talia was
Yeah,
not playing. Talia came ready to go.
Thanks,
yeah.
guys. I try.
Thank you.
You did,
I
you were both
appreciate you
so
both.
fantastic. I hope to see you both virtually sometime soon. And
Yes.
Yeah.
I send you all our best wishes from Houston. Everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. I will send a summary email. I took tons of notes. I was writing furiously. So, anyway, we appreciate everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much, guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.